I thought JJ McCarthy in his first preseason game of the year looked very comfortable. He's handed off to Jordan Mason, Niner legend. Now, of course, we've got play action fake, bootleg to the left, finds Jordan Addison. Good read right there by McCarthy. Now it's go time though. We gotta push that ball down the field. JJ's got him on that drag route, and he's gonna pick up a good chunk of yardage. You love to see that. Him and Jordan Addison connected on their first three attempts of the game, which I thought was interesting. No Justin Jefferson out there. Certainly that would have helped spread out the defense. All the eyes would have been on him. But Jordan Addison can step up and be that number one if necessary. He's that good. And you can see right here as he makes a diving catch. Here's the angle that I was looking for. I had to go back and re-record because I didn't have this in here. Let's take a look at this. So McCarthy, you can see Addison just, oh wow, interesting route. Okay, he basically like he ran straight, and I thought it was like a comeback type of route, but then it was an out, and he just comes down with it. And Jordan Addison makes a couple of guys miss. I like Jordan Addison, Jordan Mason. That's gonna be confusing. I'm like so bad when guys have the same first name on an offense. CJ Ham, the fullback. Yeah, McCarthy had really nowhere to go with the ball. He had to get rid of it. Kind of backed his team up a couple of yards there, and he misses his man over the middle of the field. But the Vikings do go for it. They need 4 yards. McCarthy. Oh no, this is actually the same play. Cool. Okay, now they need 4 yards, and let's see what he's got. You can see they've got a mug linebacker up on the line of scrimmage, single high safety, and he's able to pick up the yards with his legs. This is an elite read, especially I'm gonna call him a rookie because he didn't even play last year. For a rookie quarterback, good IQ, knows that I can get out with my legs because there's no one there. Like that's the thing. If they have another rusher coming, well, yeah, I mean, okay, cool. I'll just take the ball out to the right side and pick up the yards that way. That ball gets batted down at the line of scrimmage. McCarthy's got man motion. He ends it off. It's gonna get a couple of yards. All right, now it's going to be third down situation. Somebody's going to have to make a play. This is where it's Justin Jefferson time. Let's see if Hawkinson or somebody can kind of get going here. And yeah, it's not exactly what you want on a third down. Is Jordan Mason, the running back? He thought for a second I thought he was going to come down with that, but I mean he had EJ Speed just draped all over him. But hey, the Vikings do get points. You can't complain about getting points out of a drive, and that would be JJ McCarthy's one and only drive, which makes sense. There's no reason to sort of rush him in here. I'd imagine he's going to play next game, probably get a little bit more action. But the Vikings did go on to win this game 20-10. And I'm not going to talk too much about it just because it's like the preseason, man. But I do want to talk about the overall outlook of Minnesota's season because last year I was super high on this team. Now I am a biased Vikings guy. I'm a Colts fan, but I love the Vikings. My best friend grew up as a Vikings fan. I'm sure he's watching. But you look at what happened, and I thought Sam Darnold played at a very high level. I think he deserved his money with the Seahawks. But I thought that when it was said and done, Darnold wasn't able to deliver in those moments. And you can't make the argument that it wasn't really Darnold's fault because teams like the Lions, for example, late in the season, they were just constantly blitzing and putting pressure on him. That's a lot of that as well as on coaching and like offensive line and scheme and not making adjustments and not being prepared. Like, Kevin O'Connell, I'm sure would admit that. But JJ McCarthy was drafted 2 years ago to this point by, or really a year ago, if you think about it, by the Vikings to be a game changer because I understand that the situation for the Vikings is ideal with Hawkinson, one of the top tight ends in the game, Justin Jefferson, the best receiver in the game, Jordan Addison, his 1B to Jefferson's 1A. You've got a pretty solid offensive line. I mean, the tackle wise is as good as it gets in the NFL with Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill. Actually, I take that back. What do I know? I'm looking at their offensive line. As a Colts fan, I certainly know the name Will Fries and Ryan Kelly. Will Fries is extremely underrated, one of the better guards in football. Ryan Kelly went through a lot of tragedies for those of you that don't really know him. Got to know Ryan well those Colts days. He's a good dude. He's going to be a big time piece at center. And Donovan, I have no idea who Donovan Jackson is. That's my bet on that. The offensive line actually looks incredible. CJ Ham is a good fullback. TJ Hawkinson, I like Josh Oliver as well as a backup tight end. I think he can make plays too. I think you could run two tight end sets with him and Hawkinson and be fine with that. And we know what the defense brings with Brian Flores. Defense is as good as it gets in football. It's an unbelievable unit. Last year, they just wreaked havoc, man. They loved to just fly around and blitz and cause havoc. But in the biggest moment, Sam Darnold didn't deliver. And I think that's always been my biggest thing with Sam Darnold is that he always had the potential and the upside, but whenever he was asked to sort of do something, he wasn't able to do that. And we saw JJ McCarthy back at his Michigan days. That's what he did. Was certainly he had a stacked team. Like they ran the ball a ton. They had a good defense. It was Jim Harbaugh. But when they asked JJ McCarthy to make those plays to help us win a national championship, he was able to do that. And McCarthy as well, he's just extremely poised, extremely clutch, and I think he's the perfect fit for the Vikings. I mean, no offense, but Sam Darnold, Kirk Cousins, these guys saw a lot of success with Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota. I mean, what is JJ McCarthy going to do? And this was his first drive after he missed the entire season, and he gets the Vikings all the way down into field goal range. Certainly, he was a little bit rusty, of course, but he made some good throws. He also missed a couple of throws and some plays like that. But just considering his age, because JJ is one of the younger players in football. Let me pull up his age. He's 22. So he turned 22 this year back in January. So he's still extremely young. That would put him as, I'm thinking, let me think, Drake May, Cam Ward, Anthony Richardson. Yeah, JJ McCarthy. Is he the youngest QB? I think JJ actually might be the youngest quarterback. I'd have to go fact check Drake May, but it's just wild to think. And he's, of course, technically going into his second season. He was a 10th pick of last year's draft. The Vikings moved up a slot to get him or whatever. I'm excited about this kid. I cannot wait to see him play more football. And the Vikings last season, I was just so high in them. I thought they were going to take of course, the NFC North Division. Coming into the year, I was super pumped up about them because I trust Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores and the pieces they added in. They had a great offseason. They had a great draft, of course. Most notably was going out there and getting Dallas Turner, of course. They also brought in Andrew Van Ginkel, who had a monster season. He ended up racking up 50 solo tackles, 11 and a half sacks, had 2 picks. Seemed like every game he was getting his hands on a football at the line of scrimmage. Like that just sort of went through his hands. Also forced a fumble. The defense was phenomenal. It didn't have the biggest names on it. It had a lot of young players, like unknown guys. Like most of these guys, like people don't really know, like the average football fan. But now all of a sudden, it's year 2 of this, right? In the sense of like building off of last season, and the expectations are certainly going to be pretty high. The Vikings were a game away from winning the division, and now they've got their minds and their eyes set on a championship, on a Super Bowl. And JJ McCarthy, it's a lot of pressure to put a 22-year-old quarterback, a guy who hasn't even played an NFL snap, at least in the regular season. But I think the team's ceiling is a lot higher with McCarthy. The floor might be lower because Sam Darnold has been around for a while. A lot of people don't know that. What was he in the 2018 draft? I think he was. Don't fact check me on that. I believe he was the 2018 draft. I mean, JJ McCarthy was picked in 2024. So it's just wild to think about too. So Sam Darnold's still young. I mean, he's not even 30 years old. But you guys get my point. Is that the experience was in Darnold's favor, even though he didn't really play a lot of football because I mean with the Jets he was a starter, and then he was behind, of course. Before he was a Viking, he was behind Brock Purdy and just kind of like bounced around and things like that. Well, he was with the Panthers actually as the starter, which is interesting. But yeah, cool. I mean, I personally was in favor of letting Darnold go because how do you trade up for McCarthy and you like him? You had a good preseason last year as a rookie and then like pay Darnold. It just didn't make any sense. So this is his team and now he's going to be able to show that too. But a lot of good glimpses of the future for JJ McCarthy. I mean, this is the worst we're going to see him. That's why when I look at these young quarterbacks, I'm like, this is the worst they're ever going to be. And they're making plays like this. He's reading a defense. He's getting rid of it quickly. Like JJ McCarthy, man, too.